Welcome all to this call right here. This is the WebFire certification program, and this is part 2, and this is how to sell web services and such using WebFire, and not just how to sell them, but how to actually do the services using WebFire itself. So some pretty cool stuff that we'll have on the call for you to learn here. So again, it's just the WebFire certification program, part 2, on how to sell web services. And once again, my name is Brian Kaz, and I'm joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. So if you have any questions at all throughout this call, you can feel free to ask them in the little chat box. And if we don't answer them in the middle of the call, we definitely will at the very end at the Q&A. But if you type those in at any point in time, Sean should have time to actually answer you live. And then if not, for sure at the end of the call, we'll make sure everyone's answered, just to make sure the flow keeps up and everything goes on time. So without further ado, we will get the show on the road. So last week, if you've been through that training, which hopefully you have, because this is part 2, on the first part, we talked essentially all about how to do like a website analysis and a business analysis and all that good stuff right there. And that's a very, very important one. So if you missed that call, make sure that you watch that, because there's certain stuff here that might not fully make sense. You might feel like we're basically talking ahead of ourselves. So make sure you watch that, because we showed off tools like the SEO analysis and how to, how to basically understand the basics of SEO, where if you went through part 1, in the eyes of pretty much probably like 99.9% of businesses out there, you would be an SEO expert just by knowing the basic stuff that you learned on that first call right there. And that will definitely help you, identify stuff like SEO issues, business issues, and all that stuff that you can easily consult with these guys with right here. So as far as what you'll learn today, we'll talk about 3 services that you can sell with WebFire, and those will be SEO, PR and content services, as well as lead services. Now there's a bunch of others that you could do if you want to be creative, but these are probably the main 3 that we feel is very easy to do with WebFire, but also at the same time worth a lot of money to the right places, because at the end of the day, you not only want it to be easy, you want something that provides a lot of value that people will pay you a lot for. Then we'll talk about how to find leads that you can sell these to, and how to market to them as well. And then, of course, we'll give you a homework assignment to do at some point this week. So on the 3 services to sell, we'll start with the SEO services. SEO services can really be sold in 2 ways. First, you can fix issues for a one-time fee, like for, a couple or a few grand or so, you'll fix all their problems and that's that. Or, which I like a bit more, you could do continuous work to help them rank for multiple keywords and maintain rankings for a monthly fee. This is where you might charge like 1 or 2 grand a month, and you do continuous SEO for them, and you rank them not only for like the main keyword or 2 that they want to probably rank for, but you create an entire list of keywords that you try to basically target, and you can use like the main keyword tool inside of WebFire to identify a bunch of keywords to try to go after and get ranked for. And what's cool with this is if you try to rank for 20 keywords, okay, let's say you don't do the best of jobs, and let's say you only get ranked 2, you might think, oh, I only got ranked for 2 out of 20. Well, to your clients, they'll think you're a genius because you got them ranked for 2 more additional keywords. And that's why these monthly services are really, really great, because if you just get ranked for like 1 or 2 more terms each month, you look like a genius in their eyes, and they're happy to, continually pay you more and more and more. So in either of these cases, a great way to attract clients is to give out a free SEO analysis where you not only tell them what's wrong with their site, but also how to fix it. So last time we talked about a lot about how to do just that, but this is why this works. This is the key. You want to do basically an SEO or website analysis for free, but you also want to tell them how to fix it. So the reason why this works well is if you just give out an SEO report that says these are problems with your site, you're not ranked, you sound like everyone else trying to sell them an SEO service. And there's, if you've been in business a while, especially if you have like an established business or like a local one, you've probably seen, or if you have like a website, you've probably gotten like a lot of random emails from people offering SEO and all that stuff. And the problem is they all sound alike. Like they either try to sell you straight up or they give you like an SEO report where they tell you all this stuff is wrong and that's that. Whereas if you not only tell them what's wrong, but you tell them how to fix it, like, hey, your title tags don't contain the keyword, you'll want to change them, stuff like that. You're not exactly telling them, exactly how to change the title tag, but you're telling them, hey, they should change this, they should change that. So if they wanted to learn all that crap on their own, they could. But most of these guys, don't have the time and don't even have the want or the desire to actually learn that stuff. So it builds a lot of trust from them to you when they're saying, hey, this is a guy that not only is saying what's wrong, he's telling me, how to fix it or what I should fix and why. And because you're basically telling them why or how, they don't have to trust that you know what you're talking about. They can see that because you're telling them what's wrong. Like if I just say, hey, you're not ranked and I can rank you, they have to go out on a limb and trust that I can do that. Whereas if I say, hey, you're not ranked, it looks like a lot of it is because you don't have the keywords in your title, you don't have this, and you don't have that, and you don't have that. A lot of these guys are like, oh, that guy clearly knows what he's talking about because he already told me the problems with my site and what I have to do to fix that right there. So it builds a lot of trust, and the next step that they have is, well, what would it cost to have you fix that? So that's why that works so well there. Then, of course, after you give out a free website or SEO analysis, you want to follow up with your offer and a guarantee. And we'll talk more about that later. But usually any kind of offer you want to have some kind of a guarantee. And I'll talk more about what that can be later. But it doesn't have to be like a money back guarantee. It could be like, hey, if we don't get you ranked for at least one or two keywords in the first month, we'll do another month free, or we'll work for free until we get you, at least one or two keywords ranked. Just some kind of thing where it's like they don't have to fear that they'll fork over a lot of money and still be stuck on square one. So on our last call, we showed how to do a live analysis and how to fix the issues with WebFire. So again, be sure to review that if you missed that or you're not sure how to do an SEO analysis. The next kind of service that you can sell is a PR and content service. And you can break this down into a variety of different ones or combine it as one right here. But businesses love PR or public or relations and getting their content out there. This helps them get more exposure, rankings, and ultimately more leads and sales. There's a huge value to getting their content or name on other blogs and sites. A great way you can do this is by turning one article that you make or one blog post or that they have into dozens or hundreds with the article spinner inside of WebFire. Now this is not one of those crappy spinners that translates it to German and translates back and it reads like crap. It's nothing like that. It takes a little extra work but can be very, very, very much worth the time right there and get you lots and lots of unique copies that actually read real well. And then you can use the guest blog post finder to find other related blogs that you could get free exposure on. And for each of these blogs, you can submit a unique version of the article there. So each blog, you can offer a unique blog post to. Even though it's not like you wrote 100 different blog posts, you wrote really one, and you use the spinner to make each one unique right there. And even if there's only a handful of blogs that take you up on your offer, and we'll share with you a trick in just a bit where a vast majority of them will actually take you up on the offer, but even if the client only gets a few, that's a huge value to them because in their eyes it's like, wow, I get free publicity on another blog. And it makes them feel essentially good inside and feel cool and whatnot on top of the added value and exposure that they can get. And you can either, as we said, submit your article to them or email them to see about getting free exposure on your site. And there's actually a tool inside of WebFire called the Guest Blog Post Finder, which can specifically find blogs that accept guest blog posts. It's not like you have to ask a random blog, if they take guest blog posts. You can automatically go to the ones that are already saying, yes, I accept guest blog posts, knowing that they're far more likely to then accept you if you submit a good guest blog post there. You can charge a high one-time fee or an ongoing monthly fee for this kind of service, which others can be used to paying thousands to even tens of thousands of dollars for. So you'd seem like basically an inexpensive option, even though you could get them better results in a lot of cases. I've seen guys that charge literally thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and all they do is they submit basically a press release, and that's it. Something that could be done very, very easily. They don't go out of their way to make sure you get posted on other sites and blogs or anything like that. And there's a lot more value in this right there. And so you can not only be the inexpensive option while still making 1,000 plus per month or a few thousand up front, but keep in mind a few thousand up front might seem like a lot of dough to you, but to a lot of these places, they're used to getting quotes that are many, many, many times that. So even though it's good money to you, you have to keep in mind that the value that you're giving them is huge, especially compared to the alternatives out there where they're paying a lot more for a lot less. And we'll do a live demo of this part in just a bit. Once I go through this next part, we'll demo off this as well as some other stuff live all at the same time so you can clearly see how easy this is to actually do. You can also do content distribution in other ways, like submitting articles to article sites and turning them into videos and submitting them to video sites like YouTube, which again, there are tools inside of WebFire that can help you do just that. Like again, the article spinner, the article submitter, and video firestorm to make videos and submit those. Videos, for instance, can rank easily, and they can have a lot of value to businesses. In fact, you could even do this as part of a bonus for the blog PR service. So you could sell a service where you get them free exposure on other blogs, and you submit their blog post or their article to tons and tons and tons of article of other blogs in their market, where you could say, hey, I identified 200 blogs that you could get guest blog posts on, and I can submit your blog to them for you. That's a huge, huge value. But if on top of that you say, hey, I'll also take your content and I'll submit it to article sites, I'll turn it into videos and submit those to video sites as well, all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's a huge value. It's not just contacting a handful of blogs. It's also doing all this extra stuff on top of it. So all of a sudden you're making it more done for you as well as increasing the value of what they get. And this is the kind of service that, to the right guy, this could be worth thousands of dollars, and they would consider you cheap. So again, keep that in mind right there. Lead services are another great thing that you can do for a high-end monthly fee. Instead of just selling normal leads, you can use WebFire to monitor new forum posts, blog posts, and Q&A site questions for potential prospects. You can charge the business for monitoring this and forwarding the leads to them, or better yet, you can charge them even more of a premium to reply to them for them. So again, the more hands-free you make it, the more you can charge. And yes, there's a bit more work involved there, but again, you can outsource that or do it yourself and still do it very, very easily with the help of WebFire and the tools inside of it. You can even say that not only will you monitor all the forums, blogs, and Q&A sites for them for leads, but that you'll also monitor places where they can get free exposure on page 1 of Google, Yahoo, and Bing, where they can get free exposure as well. You can do this using MacroLeadsFire, which is where you get free page 1 exposure from Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Using OmniLeads, where you can get forum and blog posts with new prospects every day, and Q&A lead finder, where you can find guys asking questions on Q&A sites that you can answer. You can even give out a small sampling to them for starters, or tell them how many new page one exposure opportunities and other leads there are for them in just the past week. Like, you could use these tools and say, hey, I identified 23 sites that you can get free exposure on that are ranked on page one for some term in your market this week, and I also identified 56 forum threads and blog posts that you could leave a post comment or reply on, and I found 6 new questions in your market, people asking questions in your field that you could answer, all just within the past week. So to the right buyer, to the right client, they're like, holy crap, that's like basically 100 prospects right there that they can not only get free exposure from those leads, but when other people see those forums, posts, replies, blogs, and so forth, just one post can turn into possibly hundreds, even thousands of views over the course of time. And just saying, hey, just this week I identified this much, and next week there could be even more. It shows that, hey, you know what you're doing. You went out of your way for them. They'll think that you did this by hand, and they'll think, wow, this guy must have spent days looking all this stuff up right here. This is the kind of service that I want, and this is the kind of service that to them is worth a lot of money, because doing it by hand literally would take days. They don't have to know that it took you only a couple minutes to look this stuff up. Now, keep in mind that one good lead for them like this not only gets some exposure to the original lead, but also to all future leads that see those posts as well. There's actually businesses out there where 1 or 2 good posts have resulted in huge chunks of their sales as a result of just posting or replying or answering a question. Like, oftentimes give the example of when I was in New Zealand years back. We wanted to go horseback riding. So I went to Google and I typed in some term like horseback riding near Auckland, or some term like that, and I didn't find any horse place that was ranked on page 1. But I did find a Yahoo Answers question that was ranked on page 1, where someone asked a question like, where's a good place near Auckland to go horseback riding? And I clicked on that, and I saw that someone at some point answered that question and said, hey, there's a place a half hour outside, it's called this, here's their number, here's their link, yada, yada, yada. So like a day or so later, I went there, and the guy, who I presume was the actual owner, asked me a question of, hey, how did you hear about us? And I said, well, initially I didn't find any place ranked, but I saw this Yahoo Answers question. I saw that you or someone answered and mentioned this place. And he laughed and said, you know what's funny? And he said, probably about, he's like, I think so, probably about like, 2/3 to 3/4 of the people I asked that to tell me they found me the same way. So he's saying right there, 2/3 to 3/4 of the people that he asked that to tell him that they found him because of a simple answer on a Q&A site. And I don't think he got it at the time, but he's basically saying, hey, this is responsible for a large chunk of the sales that we do. Now, I don't know if he makes like, $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year or what. I honestly don't know. I could tell based upon it being, essentially a tourist area and there being like a lot of guys looking to ride horses and stuff. It's probably a decent chunk of money, but I can tell you it definitely was worth the minute or 2 time that it took to do a post there. Now, guys like that don't fully understand that, nor do they typically take the time to basically answer that. But when you point the stuff out like that to them, to these businesses and stuff, they see the value and how it could help them. Even though they don't want to do the work themselves, that's perfect, because you can do that for them. And so what I'll do now is I'll pause this just for a second, and I'll go to WebFire, and I'll show you a live example about how you can do, again, all this right here, as well as a PR and content service. So I'll show you the PR and content stuff you can do, as well as the lead stuff. So I'll just pause my screen for a second. And I'll pull up WebFire. All right. So using WebFire, there's a bunch of stuff that you could do. So for the PR and content service, what you could do is, if you want to create content and videos, again, you can use the video Firestorm to make videos and turn articles into videos that way very, very easily. And then that will also allow you to submit videos and stuff as well right there. You can also, with that, of course, you can also use the article spinner, which is right here, and you can turn one article into dozens or hundreds of articles. And then, of course, we also talked about the SEO analysis and all that. I won't go through that part on this call just because we actually went through that all on the last call, so make sure you watch that, but that was all very, very easy to do right there. You just use the website analysis tool right here, the site market analysis, and we showed that live on the last call. And for the blog part, you could use the guest blogger fire right here. Just get launched. And all that you would do is there's two options. One is you can search the existing guest blogs, which is just click this tab right here. And this has a variety of categories and stuff where you can jump down, and some will have a few guest blog post sites, some will have a bunch of them. If you don't see your niche here, that's perfectly fine because you can do the custom guest blog search. And of course, in each of these right here, this is only a fraction of the total guest blogs. If you use the guest blog search right here, you'll find essentially all of them. That's why the ones that we have right here, we actually go through ourselves by hand and make sure that the author still accepts guest blogs and all stuff right there. But let's just do a custom search. So in this case, we can click on custom search right here, and we can type in any kind of keyword for any market that we're in. So let's say we're in the technology market, or not us, but let's say your client is in the technology market, or the pharmaceutical market, or the weight loss market. You just type in that term right here, like weight loss or technology or anything like that. So I'll just do technology in this case, and pick the location, then just click search, and in a bit we'll see a bunch of results show up right there. And as it's actually doing that search, let's show up another one in the meantime, because this might take like a minute to wrap out that. But after you find the guest blog places that you can write or submit to, again, you can just use a spinner to create dozens of unique articles or guest blog posts that you can send out through that right then too. And that's a great way to get lots of free exposure through that right there. And that can be worth a fortune to the right business, especially if you submit the stuff for them and make it as hands-free as possible. And again, the key is to make it as hands-free as possible right there. As far as the lead tools go, you could use the OmniLeads tool right here, and you could search for literally like any kind of keyword that that is basically about the business. So let's say the business sold a product on how to get rid of back pain. Okay, you could type in a keyword like back pain, and in this case I put the term in quotes, so it will only show leads where those two words are mentioned side by side. If you're trying to get places that are saying like pain in your back or stuff like that, you just would have that without quotes. You can click forums and blogs. We'll search for just ones in the past week in this case, and do a quick search. And you could say here, like, hey, just in the last week, you could tell us, place, hey, there's like probably about 100 sites right here in just the past week where people are talking about back pain on forums that they could jump in and get free exposure on, or they could hire you to either pass these leads on to them or to have you go to these sites and leave a reply on their behalf and such too, which can work very, very, very well. And again, it's very easy for you to outsource that kind of stuff right there. We'll search on blogs too. So same search, we'll switch to blogs. And boom, we find, again, just tons and tons of blog posts just in the past week where people are talking about specifically back pain. So for a client that deals with this stuff right there, this would be worth a fortune to him to get all this free exposure right there. Another thing that you can do is you can use the WebFire tool right here, where it will identify sites on page 1 of Google, Yahoo, and Bing that you can get free exposure on. So again, I'll just do back pain. And as it does that search, we'll go back to the guest blog one. And right here on the guest blog one, we see all these sites on this, in this case, the term was technology, if your client dealt with that. You see all these sites that talk about technology right here that are blogs that allow you to do a guest blog post. So this is huge right here. I mean, there's probably, well over 100 sites that they could get guest blog post exposure on right there. In fact, that might be even upwards of 200 leads right there. And to the right guy, that's worth a fortune. Especially because, right now, again, you could go to those sites. These are links where you can often either submit it straight through the link it gives you, or you can email the actual owner. And version 3 of WebFire, which we'll have out soon, in a click of a button, you could actually email those site owners and send out the articles and stuff, in one click right there. So that's a really exciting feature right there. So let's see if this search is done. Almost. We'll just wait here. It has another maybe 10 seconds or so. Actually, let's do one more quick search on another tool right there. So that's a great way that you can use the guest blog finder. And that's a great service by itself that you can sell, again, by itself right there, because it has a lot of value. I mean, Sean and I, prior to WebFire, we've paid for PR exposure and stuff like that. And it's stuff that the cheapest guy out there that you'll probably find is $500, and they'll get you they'll basically talk to a few sites. Whereas here, if you say, hey, I'll submit this to 100 sites or 200 sites, to them it's like, holy crap, that could be worth thousands of dollars to them to not only identify those sites, but to submit it for them right there. You could also do the Q&A lead Firestorm tool right here. We'll start that search as it wraps up the past search. This one will search Q&A sites, so again, let's do the back pain example right there. And as it searches that, we'll go back to WebFire, where, again, right here, we see for back pain, we see all these related back pain sites that are ranked on page 1 of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. And it tells you, again, the exact ranking on page 1, the exact estimated searches each month and all that stuff, where, you can say to them, hey, we identified, 120 sites that you can get page 1 exposure on for terms related to back pain. And in total, you can say if you scroll down, there's a total of, in this case, 99 million searches a month on terms related in one way, shape, or form to some back pain related term right there. So tons and tons of free exposure that they could get right there. Obviously, a huge value to the right guy, and that can be worth, again, an absolute fortune to them. And you see all these leads right here that, again, can be worth a fortune to the right guy right there. And this is the kind of service that guys would rather pay you to handle all that for them rather than them do that themselves. So let's go back to this other search. And yes, so back pain right here. We see a bunch of ones on here. They're talking about back pain and stuff like that. We probably should have put that in quotes, because on the right side we'd get some better example if we put that word in quotes, because right now there's a bunch of questions on the right side where people have pain and back, but not necessarily side by side. So we could research that whole thing in quotes right there and get exact, questions that match up. But you see right here, there's like a bunch of questions of people talking about, what is back pain, severe back pain, lower back pain, why, all that good stuff, right to there. And again, on the right side, if there's some stuff that's a bit off right there, but that's just because we didn't do the exact search in quotes. If you did that, in quotes, you'd get exact matches of only when the word back and pain is mentioned side by side, either in the question title or in the question itself. If you click the question title, you'd go straight to the entire question where you can see in detail what exactly they're asking right there. So keep that in mind right there. And again, questions like this, like, if you're a lawyer, you could find lots of people asking like legal advice. You could like jump in for a lawyer and say, hey, let's say you're a lawyer that deals with, I don't know, let's say contest law, or let's say privacy policies or stuff like that. You could search for terms like that, find these lawyers and say, hey, I see you're this kind of lawyer. I'll basically identify new people asking questions related to that for you that either you can go in yourself and answer, or that I'll give you a list of that to essentially answer, so on and so forth. And if you give them those leads every day or each week even, that's a huge value to them, where either they could answer, or they could have an assistant answer it, or they could basically answer through you. And just one sale to them could be worth thousands of dollars right there. So that's roughly how you can use those right there. And again, just an incredible way for you to actually offer services to all these guys right there. And that's just on top of the SEO stuff where, as we showed last week, you could do an SEO report. You can use SEO Inferno to fix the SEO issues instantly like that, so very, very, very easily. You could, help track their rankings with the site rank tracker and all that good stuff right there. So we'll just pause the screen as we go back. All right, and as a bonus, I want to mention one bonus service that you can sell as well. So if you're brand new and you don't want to even deal with yet trying to find a client or anything like that, one way that you can jump in is that you can use WebFire to do this little trick, which can be absolutely killer, and that's create your own sites, even Blogger.com ones, which are free to make and host and all that. Just go to Blogger.com. It will take you literally a couple minutes to make a new blog, and you can get them ranked for localized terms for various local businesses. So, so let's say you wanted to, like make a site to rank for like a lawyer term, or like movers, or painters, or chiropractors, or any kind of local business like that. You could make a basic site where, again, you use the training from last week on how to properly do SEO, like, use the proper keyword in the title and all that stuff. Just use the training from last week and use the tools inside of WebFire to get your own local sites ranked, and then either rent them or sell them out. Like, you can rent these out for $500 to $1,000 a month depending upon the niche. So, like, lawyers and doctors and stuff are obviously worth a lot more than like a small-time painter or like a gutter cleaner. But not that there's not money in all of those, but obviously the more that the average client is worth, the more that they'd most likely be willing to pay to rent that or to sell them that site. And even if they have their own site, that's perfectly okay, because you're not selling them, their site. You're saying, hey, I have a site that's ranked, #1 on Google or on page 1 for, all this stuff right here. If you want to rent it and have your, and have ads to your stuff on it, or have your name mentioned on it, or have anything like that, or a link to your site shown on it, those guys are more than happy to pay for that right there, because it's most likely the best ROI that they'd probably get. And at $500 to $1,000 a month, it's a steal, and it's safe for them when they rent it, because it's like, hey, if ever the rankings drop, then they just stop, and then you can do some more work and get the stuff ranked, or most of the time, most of these local terms will stay for a long time. For instance, I've ranked for like lawyer terms, movers, cake decorators, and all that stuff, and even for like more competitive terms like lawyer type ones, I've had ones I've ranked for years and I haven't done squat to. I've had ones that I completely forgot about even having. And again, it's not hard if you just follow the training that we gave you in last week. So that's very, very easy. And again, you can rent those out and even sell those out for top dollar. So if you want to get started right away without even dealing with clients yet, this is a great little trick that you can do right here. And again, when it comes to local terms especially, it's much, much easier to rank than you probably think, especially if you follow all the rules from our last call. And this is probably the most done-for-you type of service that you could possibly get here. So when someone can rent or buy a pre-ranked site for terms that they want to rank for, that's pretty much as sweet as it can possibly get. So next, we'll move on to how to market to clients. There's multiple ways to market to your own clients. You can use WebFire's exact same tools to find leads of your own, like using MacroLeadsFire, OmniLeads, the Q&A tool, the guest blog post finder, so on and so forth. You can also search classified sites like Craigslist for the web services wanted, or you can also post ads on them. So not only are there lots of people saying, hey, I'm looking for an SEO service, or I'm looking for this or that, and you can email those guys, which I'll show you some tricks with in just a bit, or you can also post ads on those sites as well. You can also search forums with wanted sections like the warriorforum.com, where lots of those sites will oftentimes have wanted sections where people are searching specifically for all sorts of web services like SEO and so forth. And of course, there's also stuff like Facebook and AdWords too. And there's free and paid ways that you can use Facebook for. So obviously with Facebook, you could do paid ads and stuff to try to attract clients. But at the same time, there's a cool trick that a lot of guys do, especially if you're like selling high-end services and stuff. It's, you can do like a cheap ad. I mean, you can do it for free, but it takes like a little more time to build up, exposure. But if you're doing it for free, you can start to, be friends with a lot of people in your target market. But if you're doing it for paid, you can do like, you make a simple fan page, and then you basically write a post on, let's say you're selling an SEO service. You write a post on exactly how, a dentist can get ranked, or how, such and such business can get ranked, and then you show an example of how you got that ranked for, either one of your own sites or for a client's site, and then you advertise that for very, very cheaply to that target market, where they'll go to your post, they'll read it, they'll see that, hey, this guy is giving some awesome advice on how to get ranked, or how to get leads, or how to do whatever, and then say, oh, at the end, it looks like he also has a service where I could contact him to do that service. So if it's SEO, you can talk about that. If it's like leads, you can talk about tricks where they can get free page one exposure, or tricks where they can, basically answer Q&A sites and stuff like that, and why that works so well. And then at the end, talk about how you have a service where you can do that for them as well. And because of all the value that you're basically giving them right off the bat, a lot of them will like your post, they'll share it and all that because of the value. And when, if let's say there's like a dentist that shares it with all his dentist friends, over time, you get a lot of free exposure there, and you're targeting the market really well. And because you're sharing good info, they'll view you as the expert. They'll ignore all the emails that they're getting from all of the other people that aren't really helping them. They'll say, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. He shared an example. He talked about exactly how it's done. He clearly knows what he's doing. This is the guy I want to hire for my stuff right here. So when you make an offer or do a pitch, you want to make sure that you summarize your offer well. And what I mean is you want to make sure that it's easy to read and understand your actual offer. There's a lot of guys where, I've seen this at like workshops and stuff where, I'll say, well, what exactly do you sell? And they'll talk to me for like 20 minutes, and I still don't understand what they're selling, and I don't even know if they understand what they're actually selling. Because they just go on and on and on and on, but they can't summarize what their offer is. And if your prospect is confused on what your offer is, they're not going to take the time to find out. They're just going to leave and buy from another person. And with that, you want to make sure you also talk about the benefits, which are the most important. Don't just talk about what you'll do. Talk about the benefits that are a result of what you do, because that's what they care about. They don't care about the amount of work that you do or exactly what. They care about the benefits that they get. And then, of course, reveal why they need you and what you can do for them, how you can make their lives easier and all that stuff. Show some social proof if you have it, like of a past case study or a past client or some kind of proof that shows that you know what you're basically talking about. And ideally, end it with a guarantee. It doesn't necessarily have to be a money back guarantee, although you could if you want, but it could be like, hey, if we don't get you ranked in 1 month, we'll do an extra month free, or we'll work for free until you do, or we'll get you ranked for at least one of your keywords. And if you do the stuff right, if they have like 10 keywords that they're trying to rank for, it's incredibly easy to get ranked for at least 1 or 2. And if not, you offer some free work right there, and again, you still make a huge profit off that. Because again, if there's a client that pays you, like, let's say $1,000 a month, it's not like it takes you $1,000 a time to do that work right there. I mean, there's for like $1,000, you can do a lot of stuff that will take less than essentially an hour of work for that pay right there. Now, when you market to these clients, this can be done over email, phone, webinars, videos, and so forth. Obviously, if you're like finding guys on a classified site or a forum, most likely it'd be over email, where you write them and you try to pitch them over email. If you're doing like a Facebook ad or an AdWords ad, it'd be done as a Facebook post or as like a blog post or a webinar or a video. That all works fine. So lots of times I get asked to see, like, hey guys, what's an example of a reply I might send to a lead? So what I want to do right here is I want to show you an example reply that you could do, in this case, from a classified ad lead or prospect, followed by an actual ad example that you could do as well. So I'll show both of the examples right here. So here's an example email or post for a buyer that you could get from a classified site or on even like a freelance type site. So for the subject, you could say, hey, I saw your ad on whatever site for web design or SEO or whatever it is, and you then say, hey, I saw your ad on the site looking for a web designer or SEO or a marketer or whatever that might be, and then say, I actually not only do the web design, but I offer a package where my team also includes free SEO and marketing advice to help you not only have a nice looking site, but to also get you ranked and make you more sales. At the end of the day, I find that my clients tend to just want to get ranked and get more clients of their own instead of just having a pretty site. So that's why I include all that into one package. I saw that you're looking to spend, whatever budget they have said, and we can do all that for way less than that. Depending on what you need, I can get your website made, include the SEO, and include several marketing components for only, and then you give your actual price, and ideally have it be less than their budget if they gave you their actual budget. But feel free to let me know any more details, and we can work out everything else you might need too. I can get everything stated done in under, and then give a time frame that's ideally like a week or less if it's like making a website, or a month or less if it's ranking a site. And I'm happy to offer you free edits as well, so you don't get charged more into what you want, you can also check out some samples we have here. If you're interested or have more questions, feel free to email me back. And yada yada yada. Thanks, Brian. Now, this is an example right here. So if someone's looking for like web design, which you'll find a lot more on like classified sites, again, you can find outsourcers on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, on Warrior Forum, on Craigslist and all that. You can find lots of guys that will make websites dirt cheap, and you could sell them the website service, but then include a free month of SEO for free, and then upsell them after that on a continuous monthly SEO service that you could do. So that's one example right there. But you can take this and tweak it to any offer you want, whether it be SEO, whether it be web design, whether it be a marketing service, a lead service, anything you want. You can use this as a template, and yes, you'll get a copy of the video and of the slides within the next day, so you don't have to write down these notes or anything like that there. So here's an example of a classified ad that you could do based upon the same thing for a custom web design and free SEO and marketing. So the title could be custom web design and free SEO and marketing, and you could then say get a custom website made and get free SEO and marketing done for a month. We not only will make you a nice custom site for a fraction of what you pay elsewhere, starting at, and you give whatever price, but we'll also include a free month of SEO and marketing at no cost to you. We find that most web designers do a horrible job at getting ranked and helping you grab new customers, which at the end of the day you want more than just a pretty site, but one that also brings in more sales for you. That's why we put this together. To see some samples of my work, you can check out these links, and you give samples of either yours or samples of the outsourcer that you use. That's perfectly fine. And you can optionally add graphics of samples or some screenshots as well there. And then say you can also check out some great case studies we have of getting clients ranked and bringing sales here, where again you can list out examples and case studies and stuff like that if you have that, and if not, you can easily make some, where again you can get sites of your own ranked and use those. If you're interested, please email me back at yada yada, and I'll be sure to get back to you in a few hours or less. So you want to make sure that you tell them, hey, you're super fast and writing back and all that, because these guys are used to certain guys that they deal with. They'll write and they'll hear back like a few days to like a week later if they're lucky. Whereas if you say from the blunt start that hey, you'll write back in a few hours or less, that makes it much more attractive to them. And you say thanks, Brian. So that's another example of essentially an ad that you could post on an ad site, where the prior example was an actual email that you could send to someone looking for that right there. Now, obviously, you could tweak these to be the exact offer that you want. So, I mean, you don't have to copy the exact offer right here. This is just to give you a rough, example, and again, you'll get a copy of the slides to help with that. So, replies and posts can be similar for those asking questions on forums, blogs, Q&A sites, and so forth. So, if anyone's asking a question on those sites, you can easily reply straight in those sites too. But the key each time is to provide value to your prospects first. Don't just talk about how they can buy from you. Talk about some value that they can get first. Giving them something of value for free is a great way to get your foot in the door. For example, last week we talked about business and website analysis, that stuff that again you can give out for free to get your foot in the door. Lead examples is another great thing. Like you can say, hey, here's 5 leads that I found for you that might be an awesome fit. I actually have over 100 more. If you're interested, and I can alert you to more every week for a monthly fee, or I can even reply to these leads for you for a higher monthly fee. And that's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door right there, is by again giving something of value for free away. Even if it takes you a little time or money or anything like that, it's worth it because it gets your foot in the door. But having your main offer be more done for you is really the key to charging 10 times more than others, and getting happier clients. So keep that in mind. The more done for you you can make your offer, the more guys are willing to pay you, and the more clients you're most likely going to get at the same time. So it's a win-win-win. So using WebFire alone can eliminate 95% or more of the work that others would have to do, which gives you a huge advantage over everyone else and lets you provide even more value to your own clients too at the same time. So the homework for this week is as follows. First, decide on at least one service to sell. You could choose one of the few that we mentioned here, or if you want to make up your own, that's perfectly fine. Because again, there's a lot of different ones that you could do inside of WebFire, so that was just a few examples right there. Then create a basic pitch for it, even if it's just an email pitch. Then try to find prospects out there from classified sites, forums, and so forth. Then post or reply to just a few of those to get your feet wet with a free offer first and see how many write back or take you up on it. And then think of how more done for you can make your offer for them as well. So, again, the more done for you that you make it, the more you can charge, the happier clients you'll get, and the more likely that they'll be willing to actually buy from you. So definitely give that some thought there. And then email dfy@webfire.com with what you did and what your results were from that. Now, you don't have to land a sale or anything like that, but even if you have let's say a free offer that you mail out just to get your feet wet, see how many people write you back, see how many views you get, how many replies back you get, just to kind of get the interest and get your feet wet to start with right there. Then play around with all the tools mentioned here on this call within WebFire to get used to them, and try to identify more business types where this would be very useful for them. Like we shared, guys like lawyers, chiropractors, plastic surgeons, all that. The per client value for them is huge, and a lot of these tools can help them really, really, really well. So the services that you can do with the tools can help them a ton as well, and it's worth a lot to them, so they're willing to pay well for that there. And then, of course, continue to market to them, and definitely jump in and get your feet wet. So with that, we'll wrap up the call with the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions at all, you can feel free to ask those. And if not, we can wrap up and you guys can get going on your homework and all that. And we'll get the slides and the replay up probably within about the next day or so right there. So if you want to go through it again or want to go through the slides, you'll have all that right there. So if there's any questions at all, you can feel free to ask, or Sean, if there's anything that you want to chime in with, feel free to add that, and we'll wrap the call up.
I just think it's great information, Brian, and really, if people that are part of this program follow through and do this stuff, you're going to see results. And we've proven it. The people have done similar things without access even to the great tool set that you get as part of this with WebFire that, frankly, if you're not a WebFire member, you can't get this stuff anywhere else. So, this is a tremendous opportunity, and you ought to take action and get great results. And as always, if you need help, as Brian said, just contact our support team, and they'll be glad to give you whatever assistance you need, and do it very quickly. Brian, I don't see any unanswered questions right now. I got everybody answered as we went along, so I think we're pretty good to wrap it up.
All righty. All right, guys, so if you have any other questions at all at some point, or if you missed one or anything, feel free to write dfy@webfire.com, and they'll get back to you in one business day or less. So make sure, if you have any questions, just write dfy@webfire.com. Thanks again, guys, and look forward to seeing what you guys can do with all this. Take care. Bye.